Hello everyone, my name is Jennifer Stay. This is Coloring Bliss. I've got little Rose, my dog's. She's hiding back here behind this beautiful stack of markers. This is the set of markers that Karin recently sent to me. We did a video all about this beautiful new set of Realbrush pens that they have released, and this video is not about that. If you want to know more about these pens, then check out last video that we did because it tells you all about the new Nibs and how amazing they are. Now, when I received this set of markers, I was really excited, but I must say I was a little worried about how I was going to get the most out of the markers because you see, I am not a real huge fan of acrylic pens. Until lately. Now what happened is I decided I'm going to learn how to use these acrylic pens, and I primarily do all my art on paper. Different kinds of paper, but paper. And I haven't enjoyed the process of using acrylic pens on paper because they have some issues. First issue, and it's mainly with my Posca pens that I have this problem. This is one of my sets of paint pens here, but I have a lot of Poscas, and one of the problems I have with them is that they damage paper. When you color with those hard plastic nibs, the paper just sort of turns to muck and it gets all messed up if you try to do anything more than just one quick layer. Not a huge fan of that because I love to blend colors together and get beautiful transitions, and I can't do that with the Posca pens without ruining my paper. Now that brings me to my second problem with acrylic pens on paper, and that is that I just don't have the time to get the blend. The paint soaks into the paper so quickly that to blend two colors together, for instance, to get an orange out of a red and a yellow blend is really tricky because that paint just soaks right into the paper and you don't have time to get a really good blend. Now, I decided that I wanted to see if I was the only person having this problem and what I could learn from acrylic painters that are out there in the YouTubes. So I did a whole bunch of research, watched a ton of videos, and it wasn't until I came across a very certain video that I finally had an aha moment. Now I'm going to put a link to that exact video in the video description in case you want to see it. The name of that YouTube channel is Brophy Art Academy. Brophy is B-R-O-P-H-Y. And he is a surfboard artist, and he uses Posca paint pens to do these amazing effects on surfboards. Now, that's not super helpful to me because a surfboard is a totally different surface than a piece of paper. But in a video that I watched, he was demonstrating on paper how he gets beautiful blends with his Posca paint pens, exactly what I wanted to know. And what was awesome to me is that he shared a tip that I was just like blown away by. He uses some sort of spray-on varnish onto his paper or cardboard when he's using a porous surface. And he recommends using a spray-on varnish on paper and on wood because it closes up all those pores and gives you a nice surface to work your acrylic paint on. This was an aha moment, and I thought maybe this is what I need to do. Pre-treat my paper so that I can have more time to do blends and it will make the paper less prone to damage. So what I did was I went into my stash of different varnishes and different spray-on mediums that I have to see if I had something in my own stash that would work for this test. So let me show you what I found in my cupboard. All right, these are the 4 cans that I pulled out of my cupboard, and I have lots of different products like this, but I think these are 4 really good ones to test. They're all from the Krylon line. These 2 here are their gallery series, and these are more their just ordinary artist line. And these 2 right here are called Fixatifs, and what that means is that you can take these sprays and use them mid-project. So say you put down a whole bunch of pastels as a background on your coloring page or your piece of art, and you want to set that pastel down and make it so it can't smudge and move anymore, and then continue to work on top of that. That's what a fixative is for. So I have two different types of fixative that I wanted to try to see if they worked really well in this situation with acrylic paint pens. Now I also have two varnishes. This is the Kamar varnish and this is a UV archival varnish, and I wanted to see how they performed. Both of them are non-yellowing. This one has UV archival. All of these are acid-free, great for art. So what I did is I took a piece of paper outside and I cut the paper, well, I divided the paper into 4 quadrants, and then I sprayed each of the products in one quadrant. I did about 3 coats of the different products in each quadrant, and then I let it dry really good. So now it was time to bring it inside and do some testing. Let me show you what happened. All right, the first thing I did was grab a standard piece of paper with no pre-treatment at all on the paper, and I did some testing. I did some Posca testing, and then these stars here, I did some blend tests with the new Karin Realbrush pigment pens. And I was taking blue and yellow, trying to create green, take yellow and red, try to create orange. This was a nice turquoise color, and I mixed it with white to try to get a tint. And then down here I grabbed 2 pinks and tried to bring them together seamlessly, and I tried 2 blues to do the same thing. And you can see, you know, I was able to get a green. I was able to get an orange, but the seamlessness of the blends are just not there on a non-pre-treated paper. Here I was just trying some flicks to see if I could get some blends in the center. I tried all kinds of things. Now, once I'd had a chance to really work on this standard piece of non-pre-treated paper, I felt like I was ready to move on to our test subjects to see which one I liked best. So here it is. Ta-da! Now on the left side we have the Fixatifs. So this is the Fine Art Fixative by the Gallery series by Krylon, and down here is just standard. And both of them feel different on the paper. So they are different, 2 different products, but I didn't enjoy blending on the Fixatives. I felt like I was able to get an orange, but it didn't blend seamlessly together. Even the Posca paint pens sort of struggled on the Fixative side. So I quickly decided that the Fixatives were not what I wanted to be working with. So that leaves us with the archival varnish and the Kamar varnish, and that's on this side of the paper. Now, these definitely laid down quite a lot of product and made it so that the paint just floated. And both of these worked excellent for a pre-treatment. I had a lot of fun working on my blends, but when I hit the Krylon Kamar varnish, it was extra easy, and even the Posca paint pen blended well. Let me show you the difference here between this blend with the Posca with their pointy plastic tip nibs, and then this one. Look how much more seamless that blend turned out. So the Kamar varnish really left a lot of time to move that paint around before it dried, and it was so much fun to work on. So I got really excited about the Kamar varnish and decided I needed to put this new trick to a real test, and that's where the painting on the back wall comes in. I brought it in and sprayed it down with the Kamar varnish. Actually, I did that outside. Make sure you always spray varnishes outside. They need a lot of ventilation and you don't want to breathe in those fumes. Then I brought it inside and I started to work on it. Let's take a close look at that page. All right, a couple things I want to point out before I actually show you how I did this. Look at that blend on his belly with the different grays, and the blend right here on the feathers, and the blend on the top of his head. Very delicate, really pretty blends with these colors. This was done with the Karin Realbrush pigment markers with the new Realbrush bristles. I enjoyed it so much, and the blends were so easy to work with. Oh, it was so much fun. Let me roll some footage of how I colored specifically these flowers up here, and I'll tell you 4 things that I found to be amazing when coloring with the acrylic pens on a pre-treated paper. All right, this is so exciting. I can't wait to show you this really pretty coloring page that I've been working on with the Realbrush pigment pens. So all of this is acrylic marker, but what I did was I pre-treated the paper. So I printed the illustration just using my inkjet printer onto just some standard cardstock paper. Doesn't really matter what paper I use because we're using the secret weapon, the Kamar varnish. So I went outside, shook the can really good, and I sprayed this 3 times. So I just went over it like this, and then I waited about 5 minutes for that to settle into the fibers of the paper. And then I think I did it this direction on the second one, the second pass, and then on the third pass I think I went this direction with the spray. And then I let it dry really good for, about half an hour. It doesn't take long. One problem I had is a bug landed on the paper, and when I went to brush the bug away, he kind of left some gut smears. So that little bug is permanently in my beautiful coloring page, but you can't really see it unless you point it out. So that was a funny thing that happened. There's 4 things I want to tell you about what I've been learning so far using these Realbrush pigment pens and coloring on our secret weapon pre-treated paper. The first thing is I did the background first, and I really love the blue background. I used this pen right here, the pastel blue, and I just went through and I filled it in. And as I was filling it in, I was looking for any kind of illustration items that I wanted to change. Because this is such an opaque product, you can go over any illustration lines and hide things you want to change. And we're going to talk more about that when we start coloring the blossoms up here that are left. But for instance, right here, along right here, there was an illustration line that I didn't like. It just kind of sat out here, and I thought it took away from the really pretty blossom petals. So I just used my pigment brush pen and I covered up that illustration line. I think it took 2 coats to get rid of it totally, but you can't even tell that there was a line there before. The other thing is I experimented down here with a little bit of a darker blue. This one's the Aegean Sea. Didn't like it, so I just went over it again with the pastel blue, and now it just blends in with the entire background, and you can't tell that I really experimented down here. Second thing is how easy it is to fix your color mistakes or fix illustration things that you don't want to color and you just want to get rid of it altogether. You can do that with these acrylic markers. So for instance, there is something on my sparrow that I don't like and I want to fix it with you right now. And that's this part of his wing. I think it's too bright and I think it's too distracting. I'd rather have the eye go straight up here to the face of the sparrow. But because this is so bright, it's attracting too much attention. So I'd like to tone that down with a darker brown. So I've got my nude colors here, and I'm going to use sandstone. You can see this nice dark brown and this lighter brown, and I'm going to create a blend really quick here and just cover it up. So you grab your 2 pens, give them a shake. You can hold them together and shake them together. This is probably the thing I don't like about coloring with these markers is the shaking, and it is absolutely necessary that you do it. So that's probably the only thing that I'm really not enjoying. Now we're going to just cover this area really carefully with this darker color. This is the sandstone color, and I'm liking this much better already. I think this is exactly what we needed, but I'd like to blend it into the lighter color. So look how easy. Blend it in, and that is gone. I'm going to color this to match, because that was the other thing I didn't like that I did. I think that needed to match. But now I think it works much better. I think the eye is drawn like this rather than having to sort of bounce back and forth between this light feathered area. But look how good that blend works. So pretty. It came together so fast, so you can fix mistakes or change things really easy. That's my second thing that I discovered as I've been working with these awesome pens. I showed you already a little bit about the blending and how easy it is, but I'm going to show you even more here now as I finish coloring up the blossoms. So let me grab my 3 colors. It's actually 4 colors that these flowers are. The center of the flowers are done with the orange. This is, it's called Gold 109. And I love that bright pop of gold, but it's not so distracting. It just sort of blends in. So I think it's the perfect gold. And then I used 3 different pinks to create these blossoms, and I'm blending them together. The center of the blossom is the magenta red, and then I'm transitioning out to pastel red, and the tips of the blossoms are in pastel pink. So we get a 3 color blend to create these blossoms. So what I did, this is super, super easy. So I look at a petal and I try to decide what I want to color. The illustration lines that are in the middle of the petal I'm ignoring, because we come back and add those illustration lines back. So I'll show you how I do that here in just a second. But what I do is I'm going to take the mid-tone. This is, let me get the color names for you in case you want to try. This is pastel red. So basically I have a light, medium, and dark pink, and I'm just going to color the whole petal with the mid-tone. Not being too picky, because we're just going to come back now with the darker one and flick up. Just like that, and then the lighter color and flick down. Now if you feel like, oh this tip gets some of the dark on it or something by accident, no big deal, just wipe it off on a piece of paper towel. And that's how simple and easy it is to do that blend. Oh, it's just so fun and so easy, and you can still see the lines where the illustration lines are. So if I wanted to get rid of those totally, I could. I would just do a second layer. But I'm going to redraw them in, so I'm glad that I can see them just a little bit, so when it's time I can redraw them in. Now let me show you how you can change the illustration on this little bud right here. I don't like these little black lines down at the bottom. I want to get rid of those, so I did the blossoms with just 2 colors, the little blossoms that haven't opened. So I went right over the illustration lines that I don't like. I'm going to let that sit for a second and dry because I want to come in for a second layer. And it doesn't take long to dry. If we hadn't pre-treated the paper, it would dry almost instantly. But because we're using our secret weapon, we have time to work with it. So I'm going to come in now with my mid-tone and just whip that in really quick. And now it's dry, I'm sure, dry enough to come in with a second layer over those illustration lines that I don't want. And they are gone, just like that. So easy. Okay, I'm going to color up the rest of the blossoms. I'm going to do it on fast play here for you so you don't have to sit through, but I'm just going to use these 3 pens and color in everything, and then we'll come back and do the orange parts together. love how this is turning out. I love how painterly this experience is. Like, it feels like I'm just working with regular beautiful acrylic paint, but it's all preloaded into pens, so I have no brushes to clean. I can just pick up the brushes and start painting, and I just love it. I love the effect of the brush, the Realbrush tips on the painting. I can get into teeny tiny little spaces or lean into the brush and get bigger swatches of the paint, like when I did the background. It's so great. Alright, we've got all of the pink done, and the great thing here is you can look at it now and be like, well, I wish the tips of that particular petal was a little lighter, and I wish it was a little straighter here, so I'm just going to come back in and add a little bit more. It's so easy to adjust. Now we've got our gold color, and I'm just going to come in and lay it in to the centers of each flower and the little, I think they're called stamen, that are sticking up. Each of those get a little bit of gold, just like that, and we'll be able to help those pop a little bit more in a second when we do our final step. So cute. I'm going to run around and do the centers of all these little blossoms. Got all of the painting done now, and as you can see, the illustration lines often get covered up with the opaque paint, and you know, as careful as I can be with this paint, the illustration lines are just going to get covered up. It just happens. So instead of trying to drive myself crazy with the fun painting part, I just decided to come back and fix it with a black ink pen. There's lots of black ink pens you can use. Today I'm using my Sharpie S-Gel Pen. It works really well. The only problem is that you can reactivate this ink with the wet paint. So you really want to use this at the very last minute, the very last step. So here, let me show you, I just go in and I refill in any illustration lines that I want. So I'm going to get that stem to come back like that and go around the outside of the blossom. Just take your time. And I didn't fill in that line that I wanted to get rid of, so it's gone now. You can't even see it. I think if you looked really close and zoomed really far in, you could probably see it. I'm going to clean up this line along here, just like that, and go around these little details that we just painted gold. I'm not going to be perfect with it, but just give the same feeling here. And then add in those texture lines back into the petals. It's really quick, but it does require a steady hand and a little bit of repuzzling where the lines were. For the most part, I can see the ones that I was, if I was trying to hide these lines, we could, like we did down here. But I painted them specifically so that the lines would be seen through the paint, so I can quickly and easily lay them back in. Like this. Not too shabby. I'm going to line that just a little bit. Okay, that blossom's looking good. Now I need to do the last few, and then we'll take a look at the finished product. Here is a quick review for you of the 4 things I learned as I was painting this beautiful coloring page that I pre-treated with the Kamar varnish. First, do your background. It's easy to do it with these brushes, and wow, does it make a good impact. Second, you can fix your coloring mistakes or make changes in the illustration lines if you lay down a couple extra layers of your paint. So awesome. Third, it's so easy to blend. You can do 3 color blends, 2 color blends. They're just so great and easy because you have just a little extra time as the varnish protects the paper from soaking up all that paint. And fourth, remember that it's easy to redraw your lines at the end. Just use a nice black pen and use this pen at the very end so you don't get it mixed in with any wet paint. Such a fun painterly effect on this coloring page. Alright, the coloring page is all done. Ever so often I see a spot where I need to fix the line, but other than that, I would say this is done. And I just brought Steve over for his first reaction of how it looks.
Oh, wow, that is so pretty.
What do you think?
Beautiful.
I'm so proud of it. Let me bring it up close so you can see the blends and the lines and that beautiful bird. There's that feather that we fixed together.
Colors and all the details in the bird too.
Yeah, I looked it up on Google. I looked up sparrows and saw how their patterns worked on their feathers and tried to recreate from a Google image.
So did you have to redraw all the lines?
Yes, but
wow.
it didn't take long. I was able to lay it down really quick and easy with this nice S-Gel pen, but it was worth it. Now, I have one more detail I think we want to do, and I have those metallic pens, and I'm thinking of adding a metallic going over this black line and adding some metallic. What do you think, Steve?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, of course.
Okay, so what color should I do? Let me grab them. These are our metallics.
Gotta have some bling.
So my problem is what color? Do we do like a brown to match the bird? The black might be good. It's very metallic.
Yeah.
I could just do black. I could do pink. I don't want to distract from the picture.
I would think my first reaction was pink, but I like your ideas there. I would say pink or brown or black.
Or we could do green to match the leaves. I don't think there's a real wrong.
Pop so much.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just so pleased with how this turned out. So either pink, I think pink might fight with the blossoms, especially at the edges here. So I'm
something
thinking,
you could practice on first and see what it's going to look like?
No, we're just going to dive in. So I'm thinking either red, gold, metallic, because it'll match the bird really pretty, or black.
Oh, hard choices.
I think I'll do red, gold, metallic. Oh, wish me luck.
You are so brave.
Let's see, which one? Red, gold, metallic, right there. Okay, so the same thing as what I showed you before. You have to shake it up really good. And then this is just going to take a steady hand. I hope I have a steady hand this afternoon.
So is this like a matte paint?
Yes, it dries matte.
I love it. I love that matte.
It's so
and
fun.
How opaque they are.
Yeah, there I can hear the ball moving now. Haven't used the metallic colors yet for coloring, just swatching. Okay, relax your arms from the shoulder down. The whole area needs to be relaxed. Make sure you have room to do the whole thing. And see how my hand is dragging funny on the glass? I'm going to lay this down so that's better. A much smoother surface to drag my hand on. And away we go. And like I said earlier, you've got to let go of perfection here. We want mainly a crisp line there. I did it. First line down. I like it so far.
Me too.
The brown is really pretty. I don't know how metallic-y it is, but I'm digging the brown.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, this is metallic red gold. Okay, practice your stroke a couple times before you do it so you have that muscle memory, and then just go for it. Like I said, the thing I'm loving about these is it's just like painting and coloring with acrylic paint, but the difference is the brush is preloaded. Did you see how it just flowed? Like it was flowing good all the way through the whole stroke.
Really impressive.
Like the paint doesn't feel like, oh no, it's drying up, I need to stop and give the nib a rest for a second. It doesn't have that sensation.
Is this that kind that has a
bit
different kind of brush?
Yeah.
The artist, or what do they call it?
The Realbrush.
Yeah, Realbrush.
Okay, practice your stroke again, a couple stripes with your above it, and then away we go. I love it. I'm going to go back again just to, I really want that shine to pay off, and I'm worried if we don't, I might want to have to do 2 coats. We'll see.
Yeah,
oh, I love the brown.
Me too. I like it a lot more than I expected to.
Me too. I was worried. I thought maybe I should have done black, but I think brown was the, oh, I messed up. Okay. Practice, practice. Okay, steady, 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 all the way up. That's pretty impressive. The way the ink flows to the nib, the brush bristles. Okay, let's see. Oh, it's shining, and it definitely likes the second coat, so we're going to have to be brave and go again here. Be brave, line it up. And this mistake I made, I'm just going to grab a white paint pen. In fact, Steve, will you grab that for me? It's in the basic box. It says basic, like, see how it has words on the front, on the spine. Will you find the basic box? Okay.
These are so pretty. These boxes.
So feel very spoiled as you work with them.
Yeah, they're very nice. Wow. You have to shake it?
Yep. Like I said, that's the one thing that I don't like about working with any kind of acrylic paint pen is the shaking. It's not just a Karin thing. Okay, now we can fix our oops.
Wow, I really like that brown.
So pretty. Okay, this goes in that
I
box.
need to wait until it dries a little more.
Yeah, I'm looking back here to see, because we did this stripe earlier. Let me put this piece of cardstock back now that we're done with the steady as you go kind of things. And this is definitely going to take a couple coats. So there's one. No real mistakes there. Well done, Jennifer. But we have our big, and oh, I could fix this. I was telling them is a bug that got on it when I was spraying it with the secret weapon.
Oh no.
So let's just get, oh, we need to clean off the tip. I'll grab my paper towel. Oh, okay, that's all it gave me off the, that'll work. Cover up the bug. Okay. All right, I'm just going to go over this a couple times. You get the idea. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, we're all done fixing the oops. I fixed the bug guts up here, and there's just a little bit more left right here that I'm being impatient with. There, that's better. But my oopses are gone. The border is on. I love the little bit of metallic flash that it has. Hopefully, oh, there you can see it flashing. Oh, I just love how this turned out. Such a fun project. Alright, so you can see how awesome it is to work with acrylic paints, and I've got to say, of all my art supplies right now, I am most excited about diving in and doing more acrylic paint pens and markers. This Kamar varnish is a game changer. I highly recommend that you grab some type of varnish. Maybe you already have a spray varnish in your stash. Try that first before you purchase this one, but I will put a link to the Kamar varnish in the video description in case you want to pick it up and try it for yourself. See if this changes the way you use acrylic medium. It was so much fun. I loved it. I can't wait to do more. Thank you again to Karin for sending me those pens, and I hope you enjoyed this video about a new secret weapon we can use with our art. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I hope you have a wonderful, colorful, blissful day. Bye-bye, everyone!